Hi, friends, and welcome to week 4 of Belonging, our study together going through this book, looking at John chapter 4, specifically the woman at the well. Well, we have been working our way through this story. We have been discomforted. We have dove into wonder. We have looked at trust. And now we are on chapter 4, letting go. And it occurs to me that you don't get to any of these chapter topics without going through the ones that come previously. They're all linked together. They all, I think, kind of lead from one to the next to the next. It takes a little bit of discomfort to push us into a place of wonder. It takes a little wonder to push us into a place of trust. And it takes trust to let go. Letting go can take on many different forms in our lives. I can remember at one time when I was in seminary that one of my classmates said, "You don't really become a pastor until you stop trying to not be a pastor." And that really clung to me because in many cases, a new career, a new relationship, big changes in our lives, it takes that moment of letting go. There are so many ways where we resist big changes, things that are going to upset everything that we had planned. And yet we know that that's the thing that we need most. And that last step after trust is letting go. It's waiting to see where this new thing will take us. And I think that's exactly the kind of moment this woman at the well had. She'd had this conversation back and forth with Jesus. She'd heard amazing things she couldn't believe, both about herself and about who Jesus was. They built up that rapport of trust. And now this woman lets go, literally lets go of her jar of water and is sent out into her community, doing something she never imagined she could have done. There are so many amazing moments in this story. One of my favorites is what Jesus reveals for the first time in the Gospel of John in this conversation. When this woman asks Jesus, "Are you the Messiah? Who are you? What are you here?" And Jesus simply says, "I am." That same "I am" is so important in the Bible. It is the same words that are used when Moses is there with the burning bush and asks God, "Who are you?" And God says, "I am, I am." The name of God comes from this "I am" moment. And Jesus, for the first time in the Gospel of John, says those same words. Jesus reveals who he is, not with his disciples, not with the religious leaders, not with anybody you'd expect, but with this woman at a well. A woman who had nothing in common with Jesus. A woman who probably by all accounts should have walked away at the beginning of this conversation. But it was a conversation that changed her life, and it changed the course of Jesus' ministry. It brought Jesus' mission and goal and good news to the Samaritan people, to people who may not have heard it for a while. It showed the world that this message was for everybody. I hope in your group you can tackle into just a few of those things. There are so many different pieces to pick up in this amazing part of this story. The difference between the Samaritan woman at the beginning of this conversation and at the end when she runs off is so stark. And I hope you can find ways to pick out where the discomfort, where the wonder, where the trust, and finally where the letting go changes this story. Enjoy this time together. I hope you've had a wonderful time getting to know your other members in your groups. And I hope you can talk a little bit about what has it been like to let go in your own life. Thanks. We'll see you next week.